Aye. Should we? Or are you going to stop there? Yeah. One, another one. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. One more, and then we'll 20 more minutes. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah.
Go ahead. Recording.
Okay. So yeah. So I bumped into a Hare Krishna devotee, and he was giving out some propaganda, his books, and he was giving out some, I think some kind of like, he was giving out sticks of rock as well, sticks of rock. Which had Gauranga imprinted, like Blackpool rock, but it had Gauranga written inside. And he was giving out a few other bits and bobs as well, like maybe a candle, incense. He had a few things to give out. But I thought, yeah, this man is doing exactly what I think I should be doing, which is like passing things out, you know, informing people. But I took his book and I read it, you know, and I read through his book. And what struck me was that it was very much anti-capitalist. You know, I mean, it wasn't really political, but it was spiritual. It was you know, not, you could say not anti-capitalist, but anti-materialistic worldview, you know, I am the center of the world, you know, like a lot of people we try to imitate God, we try to be God, you know, we want things for ourselves, you know, we want a nice can of Coca-Cola, you know, we want a nice hamburger, you know, we want to enjoy ourselves and see ourselves as the center of things. So this book was against that. It was like, we're not even, you know, okay, you can enjoy through the physical senses, but they have their limitations. There's happiness to be had beyond the senses, spiritual happiness, which I experienced, and you know, through meditation and through practicing my religion. You know, so that was something that I could experience. But his book was yeah, I mean, he was stood there, you know, in the thick of capitalism, you know, in the high street, you know, there's all the high street shops there, and his book was in many ways like proposing a different economic system, a different political system, but it was doing it. It was doing that as a by the way, as a sideshow to the central message, which is we all need to re-spiritualize our lives, you know, and find the happiness, the fulfillment, the inner satisfaction that is there available to us within ourselves, and it's actually our birthright to reconnect with that and to reconnect with God. So his book was kind of achieving the goals of the flyer that I wanted to produce, but it was doing it in a positive way, rather than that clash, the political clash of, you know, the capitalists and the trade unionists. You know, it was sidestepping that conflict, and through like inner personal transformation, achieving all the same goals and so much more. You know, so this was what I discovered. This was what was available on the high street, you know, in the midst of all of that, in the midst of all that capitalistic chaos, you know. So at that point I thought, yeah, you know, these books, these ideas offer real solutions and do need to be more widely shared. So let me take up that task also of distributing these literatures. Yeah. I mean, the quest to find happiness. I read the book my mother gave me, actually, Paul Coelho, The Alchemist. It's a really good book about the quest to find happiness, and the guy in the book, he searches, you know, all over the world, but then eventually he finds it like back in his hometown, actually, but it's symbolic of finding it in his own heart. You know, we search the world, we don't find what we're looking for. It's there, it's inside us already. It's been there all the time. We just, you know, we've been ignoring it. You know, that's where we should look. You know, you know, we're looking out with our eyes, you know, where is it? Where is the happiness? You know, we got to look within. This is where it is. This is, and this, in many senses, is the difference between a Western mindset and an Eastern mindset. The Western mindset, you know, wants to conquer Mount Everest. You know, I've achieved the external success. You know, but Mount Everest in the local language is called Sāraṅga, which is the name of just one saint who lived in a cave at the bottom of the mountain, who sat in there in the cave, meditated and conquered his own mind and senses. This is more difficult to do than climbing up Mount Everest. It's more difficult, but you know, this is the difference between the Eastern and the Western. You know, the Western wants to have the external show, the facade of success, whereas from my understanding, my readings, the Eastern mentality is that, like, you know, we want to conquer ourselves and you know, become peaceful in mind, and you know, loving and kind, compassionate, and want to share that with others. You know, but yeah, my quest for freedom was yeah, I was always questing for freedom and going on so many you know, adventures. Yeah, I went sailing. We sailed across to France most summers, and with a youth training organisation, and I was, you know, going.
Can you come back to your life as a monk? Maybe it's some concluding words of general experiences.
Okay, yeah. So I you know, having made the decision to join the monastery, I visited the monastery and the temple in 2004 for the first time, and then I came back and visited again, and then yeah, I packed my bag and moved up and started living in the monastery. And I was in the monastery. Oh, sorry, I was in the monastery, living there for 10 years. And yeah, my experience of being a monk was yeah, it was a lot. I learned a lot. You know, one of my old girlfriends, she said to me when we split up, she said, "Steve, you know, you need to get to know yourself better." You know. And those kind of words, like, you know, hit me. You know, I need to get to know myself better. Well, how am I going to do that? You know, and so I think for anyone, particularly young people, you know, taking time out, going to the monastery, retreating from the world, taking time for ourselves, and, you know, through deep meditation, really, like, you know, delving deep, you know, what are my motivations, what am I about, what do I want to do, and just having a break from achieving external worldly goals, finding a partner, you know, pursuing a career, all of these things that we, you know, put at the top of our priority list, you know, getting that pay rise, getting that promotion, getting a good job. All of these external worldly goals can just take over and completely dominate our lives. But I think, you know, my experience, and a lot of people have to admit that actually a lot of achieving these goals don't make us happy. You know, getting that huge house, that 5-bedroom house, getting that fancy car, what is it, an Audi, a BMW, you know, you get it, you drive it around. After you know, a month, you just get used to it. It's no special thing anymore. So these external goals don't bring happiness, but to take time out and to go to an ashram, a monastery, a retreat, and give time for yourself to you know, just be peaceful with yourself, be peaceful for your mind. Let all of those desires, just let them fizzle away, let them fade out. Just forget about those goals for a year, for 2 years, you know. Take a year out, take 2 years out, and just give that time to yourself. Those goals, you know, finding a partner, getting on in life, are still going to be there when you get out of the monastery. or the nunnery, you know. But give that time to yourself, you know. Go in there and do something different, you know. A change of scene. I spent most of my time. My time in the monastery was divided between working on the farm and working to help build new communities, new spiritual, devotional Hare Krishna communities around the north of England. We would go out in the streets, we would have books, we would invite people to events, and we would try and bring people together. People who lived in neighbourhoods where they didn't even know the neighbour's name. You know, the try to break that anonymity of the city, this you know, and this isolation. You know, trying to. My goal always in being there as a kind of a representative in the city, in the street, was to try to build community. That was always my primary goal. And we had invitations to events that we would organise and try to bring people together, and we would the foundation of those communities was on sharing music and sharing food. You know, we would give food and accept people would share food, and we would make music together, chanting mantras with drums and cymbals, sharing music, and we would also read the Bhagavad Gita and give some little teachings on that as well. So yeah, my experience as that was my experience as a monk, working on the farm as well. I've been trained up as a market gardener, so I have a livelihood now. You know, having left the monastery, I've got skills that I can use to earn a living growing organic fruit, vegetables.
Can you speak now about your life as a household, and how is it to look after your children and give them Krishna consciousness?
Sure. I've been for 5 years.
Concluding words.
Yeah, for 5 years I've been. I've been married for 7 years. 7 years. We had our anniversary not long ago. So one thing my mother said to me. She used to work in a school, and she said of the teachers who worked in the school, some of them had kids, some of the teachers didn't have kids, and she said that the teachers who had their own kids just had a more well-rounded personality. They were you know, able to deal with the stresses and the anxieties and still you know, maintain their equilibrium, not get angry, you know. So whilst the other teachers who didn't have their own kids would have a shorter temper, less, you know, so this was something my mother said to me, and so you know, I thought, yeah, you know, I really want to have a family, not just because, you know, I wanted to become a better person as a result of it, because you know, I mean, I've always wanted to have a family, you know, and get married and you know, do that thing, you know, what's considered normal, isn't it? Yeah. I always wanted to get married, and it almost didn't happen. You know, because I was a monk, right? And part of being the thing is that in Christianity you take a vow of lifelong celibacy, whereas in Hinduism, then usually you take a vow of, you know, you can take a vow of how many years you want. Say, okay, I take a vow, I'm going to stay as a monk, stay celibate for 2 years, or you can say, well, I want to take a vow, I think I want to stay celibate for 5 years. You know, so you can take a vow of however long you decide. It's not lifelong. I mean, I was a monk, so it was actually quite difficult to leave the monastery. There was peer pressure to, you know, and some male chauvinism, you know, macho, you know, to stay on. You know, we don't need women, we're monks. You know, we want to stay on as monks, so it was actually quite difficult. It was actually really quite difficult, and I had to kind of like wriggle my way out of the monastery when I decided I do want to have a family and get married, and time is ticking. I don't want to be the dad that's like 70 years old in the park, playing with his son, playing football. I don't want to be the old dad. I want to at least have some energy to give to my children, to help raise them. And so I had to wriggle my way out of the monastery, and I'm glad that I did that by hook or by crook. I wriggled my way out and found my wife, and I had a relationship before I met my wife, and she was actually a volunteer on the farm. She was helping on the farm, and she was also interested in spirituality, and she was very young and very beautiful, and I thought, she would make a great partner for me, and so I pursued her, and we tried to make it work, but it didn't. It just didn't work, and we had different ideas of what we wanted out of life, and so it all came crashing down, and I was kind of in dismay and depressed at the breakup of this relationship, but yeah, it was difficult, but it was difficult, but how it worked out in the end was much better, because then I found the girl who went on to get married to, and our relationship was different to the relationship before, and it was very much based in spirituality, and in whereas before, I would say my relationship was based in lust. I lusted after this beautiful young lady, and then I met my wife, and we actually started speaking to each other on the phone to begin with. It was almost an arranged marriage, through an internal Hare Krishna dating agency. So you could say it's almost an arranged marriage. I filled out a form with my kind of profile. She filled out a form of her profile, and then we kind of met like that. In another sense, it wasn't like that, because a friend of a friend met her and told her about me, and then we kind of got in touch with each other, But but we
2 minutes to conclude.
Okay, yeah, we started on the phone, speaking to each other on the phone, and we were reading the Bhagavad Gita together, and I could understand that she was so deeply spiritual and so deeply spiritually intelligent, and had such a great understanding of God consciousness, and a very deep relationship with Krishna, So we got married, and we've had 2 children, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Having kids. When our first child popped out, in the hospital, I was like, this, God, Krishna has blessed us, with this child. We're so lucky. I'm the luckiest person in the whole world. I've witnessed a miracle here. And God has chosen us of all people. I don't think I'm worthy. I don't think I'm capable. I don't think I'm responsible enough or capable of looking after this child and giving this child what she deserves, the love that she needs, the care, the protection. I don't think I have what it takes. But God, you have given us this child, and that's what I'm going to have to pull my socks up, and I'm going to have to that bar's been raised, and I'm going to have to jump over it. So it's such a privilege to have the opportunity to love these children and care for them and protect them, and try to give them everything that they need, and give them the opportunities in life, so that they can become like the best people that they could possibly be. So yeah, that's my experience of being a family man.